Have you ever felt like a book was just waiting for you, like it held some secret, something meant just for you? What if finding that book threw you right into the middle of a mystery decades old, full of uh, shadows and forgotten stories? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of experience. Carlos Ruiz Zafón's The Shadow of the Wind.
No.
And our mission isn't just, a simple book review. We want to explore the soul of storytelling itself, the secrets books can hold, sometimes dangerous secrets.
Yeah, it's a really special kind of literary journey Zafón takes us on. He mixes genres in a way that, well, it just creates something incredibly unique.
It really does.
And the sources we've looked at for this, they give us a great roadmap for understanding why this novel, specifically, has grabbed so many people around the world, why it feels like such a modern classic.
So where does it all start? Where does Zafón pull us into this world? It kicks off with this really haunting literary mystery, right? Set in Barcelona, just after the Spanish Civil War. Very atmospheric.
Absolutely. Straight away, you get this mix of secrets, betrayal, romance, but also this deep, deep reverence for books, for literature itself.
And we meet Daniel Sempere. He's just a boy when his father takes him to this secret place, the Cemetery of Forgotten Books. Ever heard of it?
I mean, only in the context of the novel, but what an idea.
Exactly. And there, Daniel finds this book, The Shadow of the Wind, by an author nobody seems to know, Julian Carax.
Right, and finding that book, it's not just like a kid finding a cool old book. Daniel gets completely obsessed with Carax almost immediately.
Yeah, and that obsession turns pretty dangerous pretty fast.
It does. He finds out some shadowy figure, is hunting down and burning every single copy of Carax's novels.
Chilling.
Totally. So what starts as curiosity about this forgotten author spirals into this huge decades-old mystery, and it actually starts to threaten Daniel's life and the lives of people he cares about.
And it mirrors Carax's own dark life, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's like the past isn't really past, it's reaching out, you know?
And the writing itself.
Yeah.
The way Zafón builds this world, it's just, wow.
It's stunning.
His style is so lyrical, poetic, really vivid. You feel his love for stories on every single page. It just pulls you in. The atmosphere he creates, it's thick with this kind of melancholy, this romanticism, and always this underlying mystery. It feels a bit gothic, maybe, like echoes of Jane Eyre or Rebecca.
Yeah, definitely echoes of that. But it feels modern, too. Really accessible, not stuffy.
Right.
And it creates this almost cinematic feeling as you read, doesn't it? You can just picture those foggy alleys.
Oh, totally.
The candlelit libraries. You imagine the tragic lovers, the ghosts of the past kind of hovering around.
Yeah.
And Barcelona, you mentioned the setting. It's not just a backdrop, is it? It really feels like a character itself.
Absolutely. It's gloomy but beautiful, too.
Yeah.
And it feels like every shadow holds a secret. The city is as much a part of the story as Daniel or Carax.
It really is.
So, okay, beyond the amazing atmosphere and the plot, what about the deeper stuff?
Yeah.
The themes. Because this book feels like it's about so much more than just the mystery.
Oh, definitely. There are layers here.
One huge one seems to be the power of books and memory, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a love letter to reading.
Absolutely. It shows how stories can, keep the past alive, how they can reveal truth, even uncomfortable truth, and how they can actually be dangerous.
Dangerous how?
Well, by uncovering things people want kept buried. Secrets. That power is real in the novel.
It makes that quote from the book really hit home. Every book, every volume you see here has a soul. The soul of the person who wrote it and of those who read it and lived and dreamed with it. How does he make that feel real, not just sentimental?
I think it's because it's woven right into the plot, into the characters' actual lives. Daniel's entire quest is basically trying to find Carax's soul through his books. It's not just an idea floating around, it drives everything.
Okay, I see that.
And that connects right into another big theme. Loss and obsession. So many characters are just haunted, aren't they?
Yeah. Haunted by lost love, family secrets, things they never achieved.
Exactly. And Zafón shows how that obsession, whether it's for a person or, a forgotten book, can lead people down some really dark paths.
Which then connects to ideas about identity, maybe. And legacy.
Precisely. Both Daniel and Carax are kind of wrestling with who they really are. Their lives mirror each other across time, showing how choices made way back then can shape everything that follows, shape your legacy.
And love and betrayal seem central, too. It gets pretty intense emotionally.
Oh, absolutely. You've got all kinds of love, romantic, forbidden, lost love. It's explored with real depth, often tragically. Love in this book can lead to redemption. or total ruin.
And beneath all that, there's the historical context, right? Post-war Spain.
Yes, it's subtle, but it's definitely there. The trauma of the Civil War, the corruption under Franco. You see how that political fear and violence still casts a long shadow, affecting ordinary people's lives.
It's amazing how he weaves all that together, especially through the characters. Let's talk about them.
Sure.
Obviously, there's Daniel Sempere. We watch him grow up, basically. From this innocent kid to someone dealing with love, danger, big truths.
His journey is the core.
And then Julian Carax, the mystery man himself, so tormented, so enigmatic. He's like the dark heart of the whole thing.
He really is the center of the puzzle.
But for me, and I think for a lot of readers, Fermin Romero de Torres, what a character.
Oh, Fermin! Everyone loves Fermin. He's fantastic.
He's so witty and wise under all the jokes and incredibly loyal. He brings so much warmth and honestly comic relief when things get really dark, but depth too.
Absolutely. He steals every scene he's in. And you also have Bea Aguilar, Daniel's love interest, who's got her own strength.
Right. She's not just passive.
Not at all. And then there's the villain, Inspector Fumero, genuinely terrifying. He's like the embodiment of that post-war corruption and brutality we mentioned.
Yeah, chilling figure. And Zafón uses some clever literary tricks too, doesn't he?
He does. The symbolism is rich. Think about the Cemetery of Forgotten Books itself. It's more than just a library, right?
It feels like a metaphor for how stories never really die.
Exactly. A metaphor for memory, for legacy. And then there's the mirroring you mentioned earlier, the parallels between Daniel's life and Carax's life. Zafón uses that constantly to deepen the mystery, make you question things.
It's really effective.
Very. And the first-person narration, seeing it all through Daniel's eyes, that really pulls you in emotionally, connects you to his journey.
Definitely.
And literary folks might call it intertextuality, all the little references to other books, to politics, to music. It just builds this incredibly rich, layered world that you just get lost in.
So with all this amazing detail, all these layers, why do you think this book stands out so much? There are tons of mysteries, tons of historical novels out there.
That's a great question. I think it's because it refuses to be just one thing.
Yeah. How so?
Well, it's a mystery, right?
Yeah.
But it's not your standard whodunit where you're just collecting clues.
Yeah. Right. It's more about the why and the who were they.
Exactly. And it's a romance, but it's definitely not some cheesy, predictable love story.
No, it feels much more earned and complicated.
And it's historical fiction, but it never feels like you're reading a textbook. It's alive. And even though it's about books, profoundly so, it never feels preachy or overly academic.
So the magic is in the blend.
I think so, yeah. How it blends all these genres so seamlessly. It makes me think of books like The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco, maybe The Book Thief, or even Rebecca, like you mentioned. They create something bigger than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, that makes sense. It reminds me of that other great quote from the book, "Books are mirrors. You only see in them what you already have inside you."
That's such a powerful idea, isn't it? Now look,
Yeah.
while we're raving about it, and it deserves the praise, are there any criticisms, anything people sometimes point out?
That's fair. What do you think?
Well, occasionally you hear that some readers find parts of it maybe a little slow, particularly where there's a lot of backstory, that kind of heavy exposition needed to set up the reveals later on.
Okay, I could see that. It does ask you to invest.
It does. And with the multiple timelines, the different characters weaving in and out, you definitely need to pay attention. It's intricate.
True. You can't really skim this one.
No way. And maybe some find the ending a touch melodramatic, though I personally think it earns its emotional climax.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But honestly, these are pretty minor points when you look at the whole picture. The novel's ambition, its execution, it's widely considered a masterpiece of literary suspense. You often see it rated really highly, like 9.5 out of 10.
So who is this book for? Who would just fall in love with it?
Oh gosh, anyone who loves books about books, obviously. Anyone who loves a deep atmospheric mystery. Fans of historical fiction, especially Spanish or European settings. If you liked The Book Thief, or The Name of the Rose, or maybe Diane Setterfield's The 13th Tale.
Yeah, good comparison.
Or just anyone who enjoys those kind of Gothic-tinged literary mysteries, they'd likely be completely swept away by this.
So wrapping up, it feels like The Shadow of the Wind isn't just a novel you read. It's more like an experience.
Yeah.
It really immerses you in how powerful stories can be, how memory shapes us, and that strange, deep connection between a writer and a reader across time.
Beautifully put. It reminds you that maybe every book does have a soul, like Zafón says, and we become part of that story, part of that soul when we engage with it.
Yeah.
So maybe final thought for you listening, thinking about Zafon's idea that looks are mirrors. What forgotten shadows, what reflections might be waiting for you in the pages of a book you haven't found yet?
Ooh, interesting question.
Or maybe think about it this way. How might the forgotten stories of a place like Barcelona in this novel still be shaping its present, just waiting for someone like Daniel to uncover them?